Hi, so this is part two of Han's story. Um, Today I wanted to share a little bit about how I developed this friendship with Han, but I wanted to recap just briefly on yesterday's post. So last time I videoed how I met her, where the nail salon is at. It's LE Nails in Lafayette, Indiana. Like you saw in the video yesterday, it's not sketchy. It's actually in a pretty nice area of town. Um, but little did I know that there was actually some trafficking going on. So today I wanted to share a little bit more about this friendship I developed with her and how did I figure out that she was in fact maybe a victim of trafficking. So up to this point, I was wondering why she didn't speak English. I was wondering how she got, over to the United States, which isn't uncommon. I mean, you don't have to speak English to get here. But in Indiana, like I said yesterday, it's pretty uncommon for someone with such broken English to be able to get to the heartland of the United States. So I just started talking with her and asked her, how many days a week do you work? Do you get nights off? Do you get holidays off? How long have you been here? But it wasn't like I was interrogating her. I was having a conversation the best that I could with her. But I think she might have been trained to keep pretty quiet because that first meeting she didn't say much. The second time I saw her, she did speak a little bit more. So I went to Barnes & Noble, like I said, and I bought some pretty, I don't know, for preschoolers or for first grade when they're learning how to read just very simple English books. Like what's an apple, what is a bus, just things that she can pick up on and be able to pronounce. So I went back a week later, and I should say that so I met her July 26th, and so about 1 week later I met her again. I walked into the nail salon and I was there for 2 hours, from 10 to noon, and I sat with her at her nail booth that they have. And as I was sitting there, I noticed that at first there was about one man. And then by the time I left, or close to the time I was leaving, there was 4 men sitting in the corner of the nail salon eyeing me. And my back was to them, so I didn't quite notice them. But they were all, they were all not Caucasian. So I don't know where they were from. She was Vietnamese, so I was wondering, maybe they are too, or what have you. So I noticed that they were looking at me and looking at us, and I was wondering if I was taken away from business, and I felt guilty, but no one was coming in. So no one was, and if they did, I would have left. So I just kept teaching her English, but in the middle of it, she pulled out her ID card, and I thought that this was pretty strange. She's trying to tell something to me. So I took her ID card, and it was a green card. So I jotted down her real name, which I'll not share on this for her protection. I wrote down her birth date. I wrote down, as much information as I could, and she was pointing at it and wanting me to write it all down. So I did, and that's when I really started to think through what's going on here. There's 4 men staring at me. She really doesn't know English at all. She's trying to show me her ID. And my time was running out because I was moving to California within the month. So she told me a little bit more. She said, very broken English, but she had been in Indiana just a couple months. And I said, well, do you have family here? And she said, no, but she had originally come to California to be trained in how to do nails. So I thought, okay, still strange though that you wound up in Indiana from California. You don't have family here. I don't think you drive. And that turned out that's true. She did not have a car. So a lot of these things weren't making sense to me. So that was the last time I saw her in Indiana. And the next time I saw her, she was in California with her trafficker, who she called her brother. So I'll leave that story for tomorrow. I did end up meeting her and her trafficker in California about a couple months later, And in that time, I stayed in contact with her through text and through email. But the texting and emails were very sporadic, and sometimes they were very broken English, and then the next text would be very clear English. So I'm wondering if someone would take her phone and write in for her. It just, a lot of things weren't adding up. So for you listening, I want to give some tips on, things that I didn't know, that I learned as I was figuring it out, as I was going through it. That might be helpful for you if you go to any nail salons, or if you want to get your hair done and you're not sure. The first thing is always just look it up online, check it out, and do your research. You'll be surprised that if you type in a nail salon and then just type in trafficking next to it, what pops up. See if there's been reports made on it. Another way that you can find out if a nail salon is sketchy or if there might be something going on there is going to the National Human Trafficking Hotline, and on their website they actually have all of the tips, all of the calls from each city and each state, and you can see how many reports have been made and what the report was on. So I encourage you to look that up, and please do your research before you walk into a nail salon. But if you find yourself in one, make conversation with them. She said that she was sad. She said that she was lonely. Make conversation with them and try to do some fact checking. Don't show too much alarm. I think what I was doing on accident was causing too much of a spotlight on her, which caused a lot of the men to kind of gather and keep an eye on us. But if you're in there and you're getting your nails done, try to get to know them and see who they are, why they're here. But if you see any signs like they're trying to show you their ID, or they're trying to point at something, figure out what they're trying to say and be patient, and know that the nails don't matter. This is a person. And so the nails can wait, and you could even deliberately delay your nails and make it a longer conversation with them by getting designs or getting a treatment so they can keep conversation going. Because as long as you look like you're getting something done, you can start a relationship with that person. And like I did, you could even get their number and you can get their email. And I got her green card information. So there's some ways that you can start to be a savvy insider without really putting yourself in danger, and having enough information to call the hotline and give them, okay, this is what I know. So I've made some mistakes along the way, looking back, but I'm hoping to help you out and help anyone who's listening just be more informed and have more awareness. So that's how our friendship developed, and tomorrow I will be sharing a little bit more about the conversation, the lunch that I had with her and her brother in California and how they ended up there. So stay tuned, and thank you for your support. Merry Christmas Eve.